The 3.0 update is coming to New Horizons on January 15th, 2026, but not everything will be available on launch day or day one. Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today we're analysing the upcoming 3.0 update and breaking down all of the features that won't be available immediately, ranging from unlocking the actual hotel to accessing upgraded storage. So if you consider yourself an Animal Crossing fan and enjoy this content, please leave a like on the video and comment which new feature you're most looking forward to using. I'd love to know. And without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Hotel. So starting off with the obvious, given this is what the 3.0 update is primarily focused around, and that is of course the new hotel facility itself. The 3.0 update adds the hotel feature to your island's dock, but for many, probably won't be immediately available on day one of the 3.0 update. We don't know for sure, but it's highly likely that you will have to have progressed to a certain point in the game before the hotel is available. The absolute minimum requirement for this will be unlocking Cap'n, which in itself requires completing Project KK and the story mode, but I would have thought it would require even more than that, and players will most likely need a 5-star island. The hotel is a new venture Tom Nook proposes to make the New Horizons island even more popular and thriving than it already is, and it doesn't really make sense to attempt this until the island already has 10 residents, for example, and a 5-star rating. Either way, the hotel facility probably won't be available on day one for many, especially if you recently restarted your island. Items. The hotel coming in the 3.0 update focuses on decorating hotel rooms for guests visiting the New Horizons island. Thanks to a recent preview event held by Nintendo themselves behind the scenes for press and select content creators, we now know that the items we can use to decorate the hotel rooms are locked behind some form of progression. For example, the first hotel room will have, say, the rattan furniture or one of the new furniture sets, and nothing else will be available at that time. Then on the second hotel room, you'll have new furniture again, but also the previously unlocked furniture and so on, if that makes sense. So it's not your catalogue that will determine which furniture you have available, much like Happy Home Paradise actually, it's the progression within the hotel itself, which means many of the items you may hope to decorate with probably won't be available on day one. Not that that's a bad thing really. What's more is the items available from Graham's souvenir shop may also be linked to the progression of the hotel, meaning more and more will appear over the first few days of decorating hotel rooms and such. Consoles. The 3.0 update adds some special collaboration items to Animal Crossing New Horizons in the form of classic consoles such as the NES and Game Boy amongst others. And yes, we do call them a NES in this country. Comment below if you call it a NES or an NES. Personally, I just can't break that habit. Anyway, these classic consoles are available to purchase from Graham's souvenir shop and have their own special dedicated section along the top of the store. We already know from the initial trailer that this section appears later in the game, so requires unlocking and therefore probably won't be available straight away on day one, so might take a few days before you can play Ice Climber in the comfort of your own Animal Crossing house. If I had to guess, I'm expecting this feature to be unlocked once the first 8 hotel rooms are decorated or 8 guests have arrived and the hotel is essentially maxed out. This seems to be the logical step they take. Amiibo. The hotel will see a variety of villagers coming through the doors to stay in the hotel and visit the New Horizons island. This will be a random process, at least at the start, much like the campsite or even the beach on Happy Home Paradise for example. This is until the Amiibo scanner is unlocked after some time. Just like the special section in Graham's shop, we know from the initial trailer that the Amiibo scanner found on the front desk of the hotel isn't there on day one and only appears later in the game. So it's feasible to think, much like the consoles, this will also be unlocked through progression and you won't be able to scan Animal Crossing Amiibo cards on day one. Again, if I had to guess, I'm thinking this Amiibo scanner will unlock much like it does in Happy Home Paradise and will appear after X amount of rooms have been decorated or X amount of villagers have stayed there. In Happy Home Paradise, you have to decorate 7 villager vacation homes before the scanner is unlocked, so I imagine it'll be much the same here. These are the sort of questions the press should have asked Nintendo at the preview event, not ones we already knew from watching the initial trailer. Storage. Moving on, we have storage increases coming to New Horizons in the 3.0 update. As you know, in true Animal Crossing fashion, it's possible to pay off Tom Nook to upgrade your house and eventually upgrade your storage all the way to 5,000 items. Thankfully, the 3.0 update will be adding 2 additional upgrades to our storage in the form of a 7,000 limit and a 9,000 limit. Now, the current 5,000 limit costs 1.2 million bells, so the 7,000 and 9,000 limit upgrades will likely cost several million. Although that's not the reason they won't be available on day 1 of the 3.0 update. There's a couple of reasons, including new starters not having maxed their house out yet, whilst others may not have enough bells saved, but even if you've done all those things, you can only do 1 upgrade at a time, I'm pretty sure, so at the very least, the new maximum of 9,000 item capacity won't be available on day 1. Villagers. The 3.0 update adds a handful of new villagers to Animal Crossing, including Minoru, Tulin, Cece, and Vici, the brand new Nintendo-themed villagers debuting in New Horizons for the first time. Now, these are actually locked behind Amiibo, so we'll need inviting to the campsite from resident services in order to meet them and unlock their corresponding furniture sets. This is actually something you probably can do on day 1 if you have the Amiibo. However, whilst you can technically meet these new villagers on day 1 and could be the very first thing you do if you wanted to, what you can't do is invite them to move in. This is because, like other Amiibo villagers, it typically takes 3 visits from an Amiibo camper before you can actually convince them to move to your island. So it'll take a few days before you can move one of the new villagers into your island. So that's everything that most likely won't be immediately available the moment you boot up the 3.0 update to New Horizons, although I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I actually miss the days when it took months to unlock shop upgrades. That said, it's obviously nothing time traveling and quickly decorating couldn't solve, assuming nothing is time locked by Nintendo like it has been in the past. But yeah, still something to bear in mind as we go into the 3.0 update for Animal Crossing New Horizons in a few weeks' time. If you made it to this point in the video, please post villagers in the comments just to let me know you did, and be sure to let me know who your all-time favorite villager is. I'd love to know. Thank you so much to the Patreon and channel members for supporting this content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.